This is Yosef Bilal Bruer with ESFIworld.com, and I'm here with John Clark of CSN. John Clark, how are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well, a little tired, but I'm doing good.
Well, can you give me a little background information and explain exactly what CSN is and what they do?
CSN is mainly an online competition organization. We run online events for various games, whether it be StarCraft 2, League of Legends, even Quake Live, some console games. That's mainly what the technology and the website is that we handle. But obviously with Rachel, we do a lot of media stuff. We have a pretty good YouTube presence, and so we'll send people out to events to do media interviews and stuff like that.
How long have you been part of CSN, and what exactly is that you do?
I've been a part of CSN for about a little over a year, and CSN's about a year and 6 months old.
What is CSN's involvement with the GESL, and how did it all begin?
Bobby, who is kind of heading everything up, was able to work his magic and get the 20 sponsors that are on board and whatnot. He basically he just asked for some help. He asked for some insight, from me, on just different things on running the live event and whatnot. And from there, it just kind of snowballed that we got involved. I helped set up the schedule for how things would happen. We got Andrew, the CEO of CSN, involved, and he dealt with a lot of the players. The technology side, we're running the brackets and whatnot, so we offered that service to them, as well as we offered, the opportunity to use Rachel as an MC and to get some media pushed out.
Well, speaking of the bracket, who came up with the format for this weekend?
I did.
Oh.
Yeah, I did, and I stand by it because I know there's a lot of people out there that are kind of questioning how it came about. But yeah, I guess the idea was in North America there just really hasn't been much transparency in how groups are made or how brackets are set up. A lot of times it creates a lot of rumors. They set it up for just hype, or they wanted the best match to be on stream, whatever it may be. This gave us an opportunity to do two things. One, to do something different. Just hasn't been done in North America as far as the live group drawing. And two, to show some transparency in how the groups were created. And so at that point, it was all random. And I know that there's been some people that have complained that it ended up that there was, players from the same team in the same group, but that's just what happens. I mean, just like in anything, you're going to have, in any sort of group drawing, you're going to have a group that is much heavier than others and one that's lighter. You're going to have some team kills as well. We haven't actually released the bracket methodology, simply because in esports, a lot of times there is the opportunity, and it has happened in the past, where some players will purposely drop games to get a more favorable position on the brackets. So the bracket methodology will be actually released shortly before the end of the final round, and so players will then at that point get to see where they finish, and there just will be no risk of that, compromise of players purposely dropping matches and whatnot. So,
what do you think so far of day one and all the technical difficulties, and what do you think you can do day two and day three to?
Well, what we can do, what ESN specifically can do, is what we've been doing, is making sure that we can get the matches going. Try to work with the schedule as best that we can. The schedule that I put together is literally 6 pages deep. It's very specific on everything, and obviously when we fall behind by a couple hours, that thing's going to get screwed up. So I've had to go through and spend a lot of time doing that. What CSN is able to do is just make sure that matches are getting played, that players are happy, that that some of these things that we have experience with that the SoCal Esports Group may not have experience with. This is their largest event that they've ran. So there's obviously going to be problems. I tell everyone that I work with in esports, in any sort of production, that what can go wrong will. At any event. And so the first day is always going to be the toughest. You're going to have some problems. We're at the limitation of the school and what they can do for us. We didn't have internet for the League of Legends teams for about 3 hours this morning, and had nothing to do on our end. So we've got to do some leaning on some of the sponsors to try to get some answers, try to get some things done. But you're always going to have problems at the beginning. Right now, I wouldn't say we're smooth sailing. I would say that right now what we're doing is we're getting some things done, and we're finally getting the stream up. We're getting some matches played. I created the schedule, I think, liberal enough that I think we're going to catch up. I think we'll be fine, but we may have to miss out on 1 or 2 matches that we regularly would have had done, but I think we're going to be okay.
What are some of the challenges of running a LAN tournament like this one versus online tournaments that you guys do?
Well, it's definitely different challenges because online presents a whole set of new problems. Live, I guess the main challenge is making sure that the spectators that come to the event are enjoying themselves, and that means that you have to do everything else very well. You have to make sure the players are happy, because if the players aren't happy, they're going to gripe about things. They're not going to play their matches on time. They're going to show up late. So you got to deal with the players. You got to deal with the sponsors. There's just a lot more personal interaction when dealing with the LAN as opposed to online. I would say we're doing okay now. We're kind of handling it, but there's definitely some challenges ahead coming from even tomorrow and the next day.
Can you give me like a comparison and contrast between this event so far and how Lone Star Clash went?
That's a good question, because we were at both and we helped at both. When we helped at Lone Star and we got involved, obviously it was media part as well too. And from the beginning, a lot of it was Andrew working with the players. The differences so far was that the Lone Star, I definitely don't want to say it was much easier, because we had our own problems that those guys got right on and fixed. It was more manageable because it was only StarCraft 2. It was only in one room. I believe we had a couple players' rooms and whatnot, but it was only in one room. It was only StarCraft 2. It was 16 players, and it was a very simple single elimination bracket, or double elimination actually bracket. So it was more manageable if there were issues that were happening. This event is the scope of this event, although kind of considered a mid-tier event, is much larger. I mean, to my left we have an arcade area set up. I mean, they have a full arcade at this school. It's excellent. The venue here is excellent, and it's larger and more spread out as far as inside. So there's more to deal with that. So we have arcade matches. We have arcade games going. For console, for Street Fighter and whatnot. So we have a component there. We have League of Legends split up into 2 different rooms. We actually have a LAN going. A bring your own computer section by Intel set up. Then of course we have the StarCraft 2 matches, and it's a different format. It's 6 players in 4 different groups, and so it's 5 matches that they're going to play. We've got 2 days to do that. So there's a little bit more to manage for this event than there was at Lone Star. In comparison, there was a team of production people at Lone Star that were handling that, and that really seemed to help. Here we only have basically one person handling the video and the streaming and whatnot, and we have one person handling the audio. And so, getting volunteers to help them, you're going to get what you pay for basically. And if you're not paying anything for it, you're going to get some guy that doesn't really know what he's doing, and mistakes are going to get made. And those things have happened so far, but like I said, I think they're picking up, and as we move forward, I think Saturday and Sunday will be much better.
Will we be seeing or hearing anything about Lone Star Clash 2 anytime soon by chance?
You will be hearing and seeing some things come out about it. I can tell you that it will be bigger, and it may include other things other than StarCraft. I'm not sure if it was, as far as exactly what games, but for sure StarCraft will be a major component. I think the format will be a little bit different. CSN will definitely be a part of it, and I know the TESPA guys are working hard to make sure that this one is much better than the last one. So
definitely, that sounds great. If you had to give any advice to someone who wants to do their own tournament like this, maybe at another college, anywhere else around the United States or even around the world, what would it be?
I would say the best advice I could get is make sure that you have somebody that works for the college that stays with you during the event, that is always there, somebody that can get you into every door, can get a hold of every administrative person at that college. So if you're going to run an event in a college, make sure that you have access to somebody that has access to everyone else. I would say that is the absolute most important thing. The other thing is make sure that you have a lot of volunteers, and then finally make sure that the people working for you, the group of people that are working for you, have at least some experience to make it happen, and you have some people in place, whether it be CSN or another organization, come in that can help with that experience, that can give you that experience, and I mean, you can take all the credit for it. See, we're not asking for any of the credit. We're just here to help to see it grow and to make it what it is. And the SoCal guys are doing great so far, and they're learning. Trust me, they're learning on the way, and we're picking up things that we can do better on the next one too. But I would say those three things for sure.
Well, we know you have a very strong opinion about press and what they're allowed to report on at esports events. Can you elaborate a little bit more on what we'd like to eventually see happen with the level of accessibility what the press has?
It's an interesting question that you would ask me. I think the press should get access to everything, and I think it's absolutely mind-boggling. I don't care how much marketing you have to do. I don't care how much hype you have to put out there, and I don't care what the sponsors are requesting of you. The press should be independent of the organization, period. I've told Brent at ESFI this before. If there's anything scathing that he could write about CSN, if something happens, as long as he goes to the sources that he needs to go to get the information correctly, at least as accurately as possible, if it puts CSN in an extremely bad light, then absolutely, never should that be censored. Never should an organization be threatened. Never should they say you can't interview this person, you can't interview that person. It should never be the case. We continue to do that, and it's going to be this inflated hype about what esports really is. And then when it gets down to the dirty truth, and things come out, if it comes out that the numbers that people are putting out there, that we got X number of people on our stream and blah, 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 and it turns out those numbers aren't real, then sponsors are going to start dropping like flies. We've been down this road before. And if we start censoring, the truth or some of the things that aren't so great about esports, we're never going to get any better, and we won't grow. We just won't. I don't care what anyone says. I don't care what anyone says. Those that have been in esports for 8 years, I may disagree with them, but I'm telling you that would be the case. I'm pretty passionate about that, as you can see.
Well, thank you very much for your interview. Do you want to give any shout-outs or anything like that?
Just a shout-out to the guys to all the volunteers and to SoCal Esports who really are doing everything they can right now to make this happen. And it is happening now. So, definitely, I hope that those that are watching this had an opportunity to at least tune in a little bit after maybe the hiccups happened, and that they enjoyed it. And for all of really a shout-out to all the people that came here to the event, because they were worried. NASL had an event that was nearby here, and there was 100 people that showed up. We were lucky enough to sell 300 spectator passes, and we had another 50 more already today. So we expect that Saturday and Sunday we're going to see some good numbers. So a shout out to all the spectators that have come out to this event. So continue to support it.
Thank you.
You bet. Thank you.